America's story is a story built on immigrant journeys. And that's what I want to speak to you about this morning, journeys, starting with my own journey. You see, in many ways, my journey to becoming New Jersey's 61st Attorney General is really an improbable one. But it is also one that is uniquely American. You see, nearly 5 decades ago, my parents, like many of you, crossed oceans to come to this country. They took an incredible leap of faith, leaving everyone and everything that they knew. And like so many others that came before them, they came in pursuit of the American dream. That notion that no matter where you come from, what you look like, what you believe, who you love, that in this country you can achieve success through hard work. And my parents worked hard, and they raised a family, and they achieved their dream. And now, as the grateful beneficiary of that dream, I'm motivated each and every day to stand up for the values that have made this country the destination that it has been for so many. To ensure that other immigrant families like mine, families like yours, can achieve their own versions of the American dream, regardless of whether they arrived here 50 years ago like my family or 50 days ago. But that journey has not always been easy. And it certainly isn't easy today, when we have some who dehumanize immigrants, when we have some leaders who might devise plans to make our country a little bit less welcoming to immigrants, when we have leaders who do everything they can sometimes to make sure that that promise is no longer available. And that journey is not made easy when we have people today in this country openly questioning the loyalty and the patriotism of their fellow Americans because of the way they look, what they believe, or who they love. And it's certainly not easy today when we have people acting on those beliefs, acting and engaging in acts of violence based on those differences. But here's the thing. While that journey might not be easy, I'm here to tell you that despite all of that negativity, despite all of that violence, that American dream remains alive and well today. It's alive and well today because of citizens like you and because of ceremonies like this one. It's alive and well today because we have 31 individuals today from 13 different countries who've now taken oaths to uphold our Constitution, to stand up for those fundamental freedoms that have made this country what it is, a model and a destination for those who value and seek freedom, for those who seek to flee oppressive regimes, for those escaping persecution, for those looking for a better life for themselves and for their families. And the American dream is also alive and well today because we have judges, like judges in this very courthouse, who are willing to stop federal authorities when they violate the rule of law or our constitutional norms, including when they act in ways that are not fair or just when it comes to the enforcement of our immigration laws. And the American dream is alive and well today because of dedicated public servants, men and women of law enforcement across this state, including the men and women of my office, who work tirelessly each and every day to protect all of our fundamental freedoms and our liberties, to ensure that New Jersey remains a safe and welcoming place for all 9 million of our residents, regardless of their immigration status or where they came from. Now, let me just give you one brief example of how we're doing that here in New Jersey. Our office, the New Jersey Attorney General's office, is leading the fight to save the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program, better known as DACA. When the state of Texas recently tried to strip protections from our nation's dreamers and sought an immediate end to that program, we went down to Texas, to a federal court like this one, and we stopped them. And I saw firsthand how our team argued for our dreamers. I saw in a court very much like this, lawyers for Texas and the federal government get up and focus their time on technical legal arguments. But I also saw how attorneys from our office got up there and told the story about the human aspects of the DACA program. Our lawyers talked about the lives that would be affected. They talked about the men and women, boys and girls who knew of no other country than the United States as their home. They talked about New Jersey's dreamers as people, not as problems. And it worked. We convinced that judge in Texas that Texas had no right to immediately terminate the program. And as a result, our nation's nearly 800,000 dreamers, including the more than 17,000 that call New Jersey home, can for the moment continue to live their lives without fear of deportation. Now that case is far from over. But as far as I'm concerned, every extra day that we can get for our dreamers is well worth the fight. And even if we don't win every battle, we know that we're on the right side of history and that we're fighting for the values that define us as Americans, those same values that each of you have now taken an oath to uphold, and those same values that I hope you will fight for in your own way in the time to come. Now, when my parents took that huge leap of faith nearly 50 years ago to leave everything and everyone they knew to come to this country, I don't think they ever imagined that their son would one day be standing in a courtroom like this one, holding the position that I hold today, and speaking to an audience like this one. I certainly never imagined it. So I think if there's any doubt about the American dream being alive and well today, I'm proof of it, even in this difficult moment in our nation's history. So while the journey may be difficult, I'm here to tell you that anything is still possible for you and your children in this country. In the future, they can stand in a courtroom like this one as a federal judge and swear in the next generation of new Americans, or as a public servant like me and welcome that next generation and wish them well on their journeys. So as I leave you here this morning, I wish you well on your journey, and I encourage you to continue it and to add to the story of this country by pursuing your own versions of the American dream. And together, I hope that we never awaken from that dream,